Up next is the App of the Week segment. This is a segment dedicated to app demonstrations. Should you have an app that you would like to demonstrate for our listeners, feel free to send us the recording of such an app demo to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And now for this week's episode, here's your App of the Week. Well, now let's magnify ourselves out of here with the last segment of the day, and that's the Magnifying app. And those of you who have some sight and can still use some magnification, John demonstrates such an app in the way of a magnifier.
Hello. Today I'll be demonstrating an app for low vision listeners of the podcast. Anybody who still has some usable sight could find this app or an app like it pretty useful. So the one I'll be demonstrating today is called
Magnifier, Magnifying Glass.
And of course there are tons of these in the Play Store. So the developer of this specific app is
Studio 360 Apps.
And of course, as usual, the link will be in the show notes or video description.
Open button.
I've already installed it, so I'm going to go ahead and open it.
Magnifier. Swipe vertically for zoom and horizontally for exposure.
So when you first open the app, the focus is on the viewfinder. And as you heard, it tells you to swipe up and down to zoom in or out, or to swipe left and right to change the exposure. Of course, if you're a TalkBack user, that means to swipe with 2 fingers. Or slide 2 fingers. So sliding 2 fingers up the screen will zoom in, and sliding down will zoom out. Now, of course, because this is a magnification app and it uses the camera, it's going to ask you for permissions. I already used this app, so I've granted the permissions to store photos, to have access to my camera and all that. So that should make this demo a little smoother. One thing I want to mention before I get started is that this does have in-app purchases to remove ads, and I have already done that. If my memory serves me correctly, it was probably less than $2. But even before doing that, the ads were not intrusive. They were not full screen ads or anything like that. It was just a banner across the top of the screen that you could ignore if you want to. But, being low vision, you might want to get rid of that, because the more screen real estate you have for magnifying, the easier it makes things. But it does not affect the app's functionality if you do not purchase that add-on to remove the ads. So I'm just going to show you what's in the interface. As I mentioned, the viewfinder is in focus. I'm going to swipe right.
Menu button.
We have a menu, then we have
Toggle light button.
Turn on and off the flashlight.
High contrast button.
High contrast, this will cycle through all of the high contrast modes you have enabled, which I'll show you how to change later.
Super zoom button.
Super zoom gives you 3 levels of zoom. If you want to just double tap on this, it zoomed in a little bit. It zoomed in a lot. Then on the third, it goes back to normal. So you have options of how you want to zoom.
Tap to freeze image or long press for video magnifier. Image.
So this button is at the bottom center. All of those other buttons previously were along the top. As you heard, you can use this to capture an image or a video. And I'll demonstrate the video thing a little later because that's pretty cool. So now I'm going to go back to the top.
Swipe vertically for zoom and horizontally for exposure.
By top, I didn't mean physically on the screen. I just meant the first item, which is the viewfinder. So I'm going to swipe right from here to get to the menu.
Menu button.
And show you what's in the menu.
Magnifier. V.1.2.3.
Version number.
Gallery.
Gallery, this is where you have saved images or videos.
Color modes.
Color modes, I'm going to go in here.
Color modes. Checked. Black on white.
So these are what will show up when you toggle between the high contrast modes. I have this first one enabled.
Checked. White on black.
So I have black on white and white on black. I'm pretty much completely colorblind, so these are the only ones I need, but here are the other options.
Black on yellow. Yellow on black. Blue on white. White on blue. Black on green. Green on black. Save button.
Don't forget to hit this save button if you've customized this, so you can add whatever color filters you want.
Magnifier. Color modes.
And below this,
Gesture controls.
gesture controls. I'm not going to open this because this is the one part of the app that doesn't seem accessible. I think it's just a picture. Well, actually, I'll go in here just to show
Gesture
you.
controls. OK button.
So there's an OK button,
Gesture controls.
and that says gesture controls, and that's it. I think there's a picture here kind of maybe demonstrating how to zoom in and out and that sort of thing.
OK button.
Hitting OK.
Magnifier. Gesture controls.
Below this,
Quick launch.
quick launch. This will let you add it to your quick settings.
Magnifier wants to add the following tile to quick settings. Magnifier wants to add the following tile to quick settings.
I'm going to back out of here because I don't want to add it right now, but this is an option for you.
Magnifier. Quick launch.
Below this,
Send feedback.
where you can send feedback,
Privacy policy.
boring stuff,
Studio 360 apps. Button.
other apps by this developer. That's all that's in the menu, so I'm going to back out and show you how to use it.
Swipe vertically for zoom and horizontally for exposure.
Now, obviously, I'm not showing you because this is only a recording, but I'm sure you can imagine what's happening. I will swipe right.
Menu. Button.
I'm going to look for the filter because I usually like white on black.
Toggle light. Button. High contrast. Button.
I'm going to hit this until it does it for me. So now this is the mode I wanted on. Everything seems to be dark with white text. Now I'm just aiming it at my keyboard. And I'm looking from key to key. And of course, sliding 2 fingers up or down will adjust the zoom, and then sliding them left and right will adjust the exposure to kind of get the contrast you want, or to get the items to show up that you want. And then I'm going to swipe right.
Super zoom. Button.
I explained this earlier, but I don't need it right now because I'm at the level I want to take a photo, if you want to take a photo.
Tap to freeze image or long press for video magnifier. Image.
So I'm going to double tap here to show you what happens. And now what's happened is I have 2 options. If I swipe left,
Share. Button.
share. So if you want to share this to an app like Be My Eyes or something like that, you can. Back to the right to go back to that shutter button, and then right again to show you the other option.
Tap to freeze image or long press for video magnifier. Image. Save. Button.
Save. And this will save it into a folder. The default folder is inside Pictures and then Studio 360. And that's where, by default, these will all be saved. But I'm not going to save this. I'm going to back out.
Swipe vertically for zoom and horizontally for exposure.
Now I'm going to show you. I'm going to go back to the shutter button.
Tap to freeze image or long press for video magnifier. Image.
I call it a shutter button, but it's not. So let's say you want to, and I'm going to show you why you would want to record a video. So this is just an example because I'm on my keyboard. Say I want to see what all the function keys are, whether they're volume, brightness, media controls, so on. I could record a video of it. So what you do is, now that I'm on this button, I have it focused on like the escape key. I'm going to double tap and hold. And then I'm going to move the phone from left to right across all the keys till I get to like around F12, and I'm going to release. And what that's done, I'm going to swipe left 2 times.
Share. Button. 50%. Preview seek bar. Slider.
there's a slider here, and it starts it at 50%, so it's like halfway through the video, if you want to even think of it as a video. So it's showing like around the F6, F7 key. And now if I want to move left and right along the function keys row, I just adjust this slider. So I could do it either way. It works both ways with TalkBack. You can swipe up or down with one finger.
45%. 40%.
So that's slowly moving the image left. And of course, you can also double tap and hold. I'm going to do that.
47%.
Move all the way to the left.
9%. 0%.
So now it's showing the escape key, and if my finger is still held on the screen,
5%,
if I move it to the right,
21%, 72%, 99%,
it goes all the way across,
100%.
And now it's on like the F12 key. So, and of course, if I swipe right 3 times,
share, tap to freeze image or save button.
Or if you just touch near the bottom right, that's the save button.
Swipe vertically for zoom and horizontally for exposure.
So it's taken me back to the main screen, and what it's done is it saved it to my camera roll, and I'm going to show you how I can go back to it later.
Menu button. Magnifier v.1.2.3. Gallery.
The gallery and the menu.
Magnifier. Navigate up button. Unlabeled.
Now these are unfortunately unlabeled, but you can save them here and you can open them up again. So
Magnifier 50%. Preview seek bar slider.
So now you could just go into your gallery and look at what you've saved instead of actually having to point it at that object every single time. So if you just wanted to quickly see, like maybe the lights are off and you're on your computer, obviously, and you want to remember what key is the right key, you could just bring this up, slide that slider to the right position of the key you want to look at. And if you even want to use Android's built-in magnifier, screen magnifier, to zoom in further, you can. So that concludes this demonstration. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, John, for that demonstration. And do you use this often, John, or you don't use it a lot?
So I do use this a lot, and the reason I use it, because I also wanted to mention that if you have a Galaxy phone or a Pixel phone, they have very similar magnification apps. I think you might have to download the Pixel one from the store, but I'm not sure. But they do have one specifically designed for Pixels, and then Samsung has a magnifier built into their operating system. But now that I'm using the OnePlus, I had to find a third-party solution, and this is the one I landed on. So I do use this a lot on my OnePlus phone, although when I'm on a Pixel or a Samsung, I just use their standard magnifier. So I did want to mention that both of those are pretty decent and have similar features as far as the color filters and that sort of thing. And another thing I wanted to mention is just there's an app called WeZoom, one word, WeZoom, that's actually probably my favorite. But the reason I can't use it is because, or the reason it bugs me is because it forces your phone into landscape. And the reason that's a problem for me is because I use angle gestures and TalkBack. And so while you can still hold it in portrait to magnify, it's acting like it's in landscape. So when you, like, say I go down and back angle gesture to go back, it thinks I'm going right and down, and it pulls down the notification say instead. So it like forces your phone into landscape even though you're not holding it in landscape. And that bothers me personally. Now, if you're just a low vision user that doesn't use TalkBack, or you don't use angle gestures in TalkBack, that might not bother you at all. So this is an app worth checking out also. It's more customizable in that you can even assign the volume keys to do certain things like freeze the frame or switch the color filter and that sort of thing.